Speaker Jeffries? That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, I'm really torqued off about this, so I'm going to just get going. No wonder people despise Washington. No wonder Trump called it the swamp. When people run for Congress, right, they promise they're going to do their best to serve their districts. Implicit is that, barring some terrible health emergency, that they'll actually serve out their terms.
Tonight begins a new phase, certainly in my life, and I'm anxious to represent Colorado in a real meaningful way.
Thank you to the phenomenal, talented people of Northeast Wisconsin for sending me back to Congress for another 2 years to fight for them.
Well. On March 22nd, the sandbox in D.C. is so messy that two boys are picking up their marbles and going home. Just last week, Congressman Ken Buck, who hates the populists, hates the MAGA GOP, announced he would retire early.
Is it that bad that you're saying, I'm done?
It is the worst year of the 9 years and 3 months that I've been in Congress. Instead of having decorum, instead of operating in a professional manner, this place has just evolved into this bickering and nonsense and not really doing the job for the American people.
Whoa, wait a second. His idea of doing the job for the American people is to quit. And I guess the other years when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker, those were better years than this last year. That tells you everything you need to know. Now, as he headed out the door today, his parting gift to the GOP was signing the Democrats' discharge petition that would advance the massive $95 billion foreign aid package that included $60 billion for Ukraine, but none for our own border. He also signed the alternative petition. Now, there was a lot that bugged Buck, but he was enraged at the House impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas because he said there was insufficient evidence of wrongdoing. Okay, now, I get the constitutional concerns about impeaching. I get it. But his resignation midterm is simply selfish and petty. It doesn't honor the Constitution. In the end, this so-called conservative decided to give leverage to Biden and the Democrats by narrowing, at least temporarily, the GOP majority. Now, ditto for Mike Gallagher of Northeast Wisconsin. Now, all of you know how much I have stood with him on his efforts to rein in China, especially on TikTok. A lot of conservatives disagree with me, but Gallagher's right. He's appeared on the angle many times. And by the way, we invited both Buck and Gallagher on the angle tonight. I'm sure they're flying, or a lot of guys are flying tonight. I get it. But to answer this simple question, they all should. Is your sudden midterm retirement time to help Democrats and hurt the Republicans and Trump? Well, look, it's a reasonable assumption to believe the answer to that question for both men is yes. This is politically timed to hurt the Republicans, hurt Trump, and help the Democrats. Now, the timing of Gallagher's resignation is especially telling. Now, he announced that he was resigning today, but, this is a big but, his resignation would not be effective until April 19th. Okay. When asked why he was leaving early, his team told us he made the decision for personal and family reasons. Okay. Well, Mike Gallagher made an affirmative decision to give Democrats more power since the GOP majority will now be down to 1. So, what if someone has a delayed flight, gets sick? There is zero room for error. And this is key. Had Gallagher walked out today, Wisconsin would have been able to have a special emergency election to fill his seat. But now, because he's putting it off till April 19th, it remains vacant until next year. Again, this pains me to say this. Thanks, Mike. Hope future Speaker Hakeem Jeffries sent you a nice fruit basket today. Now, how else are people supposed to interpret this move except as spiteful and maybe some kind of revenge play? Really? And they think Trump is the problem? At least he stays in the arena, despite what they're doing to him. With Trump as the party's presumptive nominee, Gallagher, and I didn't even know this until today, would not even commit to attending the Republican National Convention that is happening in his home state. It's going to bring a huge amount of money to the state this summer. He claimed there's a lot of things he needs to do. Give me a break. Well, since he quit, I guess he's free now. Pulling a John Kasich, who also skipped the RNC in Cleveland in 2016, his home state, that was pathetic. Now, I've been in Washington, and this is depressing to report, but 30 years. I have never witnessed what I'm witnessing now. A party with a narrow majority in the House of Representatives, everything on the line in the country, but committing a slow suicide, the party. This is why conservatives call the GOP the stupid party, by the way. Remember the big push last year by Matt Gaetz to oust Kevin McCarthy? Now, I pushed him on what that would actually accomplish.
This is about the job. This is about keeping our commitment to have single subject spending bills and an actual budget for the first time.
Congressman, the fact of the matter is, y'all don't have the votes. Get you closer.
I categorically reject that we don't have the votes for a budget.
Hold on a second. Okay. Of course, it turns out, sorry, I was right. He was wrong. The new speaker, Mike Johnson, just signed on to a $1.2 trillion spending bill that essentially gives Joe Biden everything he needs. Some of the worst, $2.5 million for 2 hospitals that perform late-term abortions, $880 million for enhanced border security in the Middle East, forget our borders, $1.1 million for climate resilience and equity in Boston, $1.6 million for EV buses on Cape Cod, $4 million for an economic justice lab in Connecticut. Oh, here's a big one, $15 million for college tuition for Egyptians. And of course, the millions being spent on centers that provide so-called gender-affirming care, including for minors. The fact is, as I tried to tell Matt Gaetz, there just aren't enough serious Republicans in Congress now who really want to cut spending. Instead, they want to flex their muscles and exercise real power, they think, which is spending. And let's not forget, Republican self-sabotage was also on full display when they helped push George Santos out. Obvious ethical issues there, but many of us think what's happening with spending is unethical as well. Ousting Santos gave the Democrats another seat. By summer, I think there's a distinct possibility that Democrats will have the House majority. The press, the liberals, they're salivating. This is like taking candy from a baby. Before Gallagher's announcement, our own Chad Pergram wrote, there will be 432 members, 218 Republicans to 214 Democrats. The margin is 4 seats, but the GOP cannot lose 2 votes and still pass a bill without help from across the aisle. Again, tie votes come into play. Republicans will be down to only a solitary vote to spare. In other words, now they don't have any votes to spare. And there are still a few other Republicans who may also hit the exits before summer. Tonight, my friends, I'm going to tell you, this is disgraceful. It's infuriating. Each and every one of you deserves better from the people you send to Congress. They're supposed to put your needs first instead of their own egos or convenience. But let's look at the bright side. Oh, it's Friday for Republicans. Soon there's going to be no need to worry about motions to vacate the Speaker's chair because they won't have a chair to vacate. And that's the angle.